I can do it all, I will never fall. It's the Renaissance, you know that I got the mother sauce, man. You know I'm the boss, I know what it costs. Have you won a loss? I'm so versatile, yeah, I'm a Renaissance, man. I can do it all, I will never fall. It's the Renaissance, you know that I got the mother sauce, man. You know I'm the boss, I know what it costs. Have you won a loss? I'm so versatile, yeah, I'm a Renaissance, man.
Congratulations, brother.
And here we go. And we're back. Another episode of the Hangar Hangout. What's good, y'all? It's awesome to be talking about football right now. And I say that because we are on the cusp of literally having football back. Training camp is here. You're starting to see a bunch of the awesome videos pop up. You're starting to see the New York Jets, Aaron Rodgers, freaking Garrett Wilson connection, the G5 connection, I like to call it, is on full display. This offensive line is really starting to shape itself into becoming something that we can be excited about. It's been a minute since the last time we saw or even had, I guess you can say, the starting offensive lineman ready to go during training camp. So last year we didn't have that. Aaron Rodgers being there, being able to go ahead and take snaps with these guys. They can understand how he operates, how he wants to go ahead and operate the offense. It's exciting stuff, man. Exciting stuff. We're just around the corner from actual football. Um, this is what it's all about. Like, right? I feel like the off season for us football fanatics, it's like, I don't know, man. It's like it's the longest summer. Like summer break isn't exciting for me. Spring break isn't exciting for me. Like the best season for me is football season, right? Like, my kids love Christmas. The wife loves Thanksgiving and Halloween. But like for me, it's football season. That's when like I really, really get excited. And it's right around the corner. Training camp again being in full effect. Tonight, we're going to have a New York Jets insider, Jets XFactor writer, Brandyn. He's going to go ahead and be with us tonight. He's going to go ahead and give us some of his, first person view, first person perspective of what he's seeing in training camp. We're going to go ahead and ask him some questions. If you want to go ahead and ask him a couple of questions, make sure you're putting it in the chat. I can go ahead and relay those questions to him. We're only going to have him for a little bit of time. Busy dude, so I'm glad he's able to go ahead and spend some time with us tonight. I want to also give a shout out to the U.S. women's rugby team. Listen, I'm not really big on like rugby. I've never understood the game very well. I know it's very much like football, but they accomplished something apparently that's never been done when it comes to rugby in the U.S. I thought that was pretty awesome. Congratulations to them on winning the bronze. Again, the play was kind of weird to me in regards to how it happened. I had to ask a couple of questions, but ultimately it wound up just being freaking a missed tackle. I understand that now. And every time the USA is catching a win, I'm all about it. I'm all about freaking USA catching gold, catching silver, catching bronze. Love it whenever we get on the pedestal. So again, congratulations to the female rugby team on placing, I guess, third. You know what I'm saying? They got a bronze medal. But yes, back to the Jets. So you know what? We got a couple of minutes before freaking Brandyn comes on here, man. Let's say what's up to a couple of people. I see you out there. What's up, Bernard? How you doing? My boy Dano, what's good, man? What's good? Now, in terms of the Adam Schefter sucks, yeah, I'm going to assume you're referring to the comment that he made earlier today in regards to I think it was Aaron Rodgers not playing in the preseason, right? And I get a lot of individuals were salty in regards to how he stated it. Like it actually agitated me too when I saw how he went about it, so to speak. I don't. It almost seemed as if he was trying to imply that Aaron Rodgers wasn't healthy or that he was injured, and that's why he couldn't freaking go out there. So I know what you're talking about, man. Adam Schefter is definitely catching some L's right now from Jets fans everywhere. They know what's good. Yeah, we're going to have Brandyn the Brain. He's going to be on the show today answering some questions about training camp for us. Salute to you, brother. But I'm actually kind of concerned about an aspect, right? So the Hassan Reddick situation to me, I guess now is starting to, in my opinion, kind of get out of hand. I feel like at this point, my man he's missed six days at $50,000 a day, right? You're hearing conversations that things are going in the right direction. It's getting positive. But we were also told that the Jets weren't going to talk to him whatsoever until he showed up into the building. And I was on record saying that, like, I didn't care. For me, it's all about paying the homegrown talent that we currently have on the roster, and I'm gonna stand by that. I'm not stepping back from that. Like, I'm not changing my thought process on that. I believe wholeheartedly that we need to take care of our own people, pay our own people, and that's going to be the Sauce Gardners, the Brees Halls, the Jermaine Johnsons, the Garrett Wilsons. And I don't believe giving 29-year-old Hassan Reddick, who's never played a snap for the New York Jets, is going to be what you want to call a long-term solution for short-term success. Now, I do want him on the roster in terms of this season. I'm 100% on board and giving that man some extra money, some extra incentives, or even freaking if you want to guarantee his money, I'm okay with that as well. But what I'm not okay with is doing it at the expense of what we can pay our own people, right? If we pay Hassan Reddick, you can already count out DJ Reed and Michael Carter. I don't think there's enough money available for us to be able to go ahead and bring one of those guys on. So I have so many concerns about that aspect. I might be alone when it comes to this, but Hassan Reddick has never played a snap for the New York Jets. I don't think we should pay him as if he's played a snap for the New York Jets. I know everybody's talking about, like, well, we're paying him for his resume and what he's accomplished and what he's done. And I get that. But I also think we need to go ahead and err on the side of caution, because we did the same thing last year with Dalvin Cook, right? We brought him in because of what he used to do, what his resume looked like. And I'm not saying Hassan Reddick in any way, shape, or form is going to be freaking, Dalvin Cook. What I'm saying is, this isn't a guy who's 29 years old who relies heavily on his finesse skill set as well as his speed to do what he do, right? To go ahead and get freaking pressure and to get sacks. I'm not saying he can't do it, but to give him 3 or 4 year contract, just to keep him around for one elite year potentially, if he brings us that this year, I think would be a mistake. So maybe I stand alone when it comes to that. I don't want to pay the man. But what I am concerned about is, I was less concerned about it when I thought Will McDonald was going to be able to step in there and do things that Bryce Huff did, do things that Hassan Reddick does. Again, similar build. He's a finesse speed guy. I think he's got better ability to impact the run game because of those long arms of his. So I really thought, like, you know what, we'll be all right. This defensive staff is pretty good on unlocking these individuals and taking them to the next level. But I'm starting to wonder whether or not the confidence factor is actually there, right? You got Coach Sala talking about how the kid is a great athlete. He has potential this and potential that, but he's not really giving us any information of whether or not the kid is going to get on the field. He's not really giving us the warm and fuzzy about whether or not he feels confident in the kid's ability. So whenever I see that, man, I get a little bit, I get it. You got to do the coach speak, and that's cool and everything, but I get a little concerned, man. I get a little concerned. So for me, the Hassan Reddick and then the Will McDonald thing has now gotten to a point where I'm questioning some things, right? But again, that's probably the PTSD in me as a Jets fan, expecting the worst, hoping for the best. So I don't know how y'all feel about it, man. How do you feel about the Hassan Reddick situation? Do you believe Will McDonald can be that dude? We're already seeing that Clemens may not be that dude. He's looked pretty rough thus far in training camp. I think it's possible that he make the roster. Yeah, I think he'll make the roster, but having him potentially as that other edge outside of freaking JJ, I don't know if that's the answer. I'm starting to really, really question whether or not he has the ability to actually play on the outside if we go ahead and put him back on the inside. I don't know. Again, I'm concerned more about the defensive line this week than I was last week. What's up, New York Jets Flight Talk? Hey, listen, congratulations to you. So you had your credentials out there today, man. You were at freaking training camp. That's pretty awesome. Doing your thing, dog. It's always awesome to see you keep doing your thing, unlocking another tier of your abilities. But yeah, again, I come back to that, man, and I have my concerns. I have my concerns because this defense really only goes as I guess you can say as far as the defensive line is going to take them. The defensive line is the heart and soul of this defense. Yes, I get it. We've got some stud linebackers. We've got some elite cornerbacks. Safeties right now, we're still trying to figure out where we stand in terms of that particular group. But overall, when it comes to what this defense is pretty much people scared of, it's that defensive line. And I'm starting to wonder whether or not, the Jets are going to cave and pay a Hassan Reddick that $25 to $28 million a year over the next couple of years just to get him into the building. So again, maybe I'm alone when it comes to this, and I don't know. I don't know. I've just gotten to the point now where it's concerning to me. Another thing that I think I'm kind of shocked by in terms of training camp is Alan Lazard. If you guys have been watching this thing, man, Alan Lazard looks like, I don't know, like he's figured out how to play football again. Now, I don't know whether or not this is just him trying to go ahead and it's a spark, a flash in the pan. I know he had some struggles today in training camp, but Alan Lazard has impressed. What's up, Stack? I need to see me information 15 minutes prior. It's supposed to be 15 minutes prior to 15 minutes prior. So if you're 15 minutes prior, you're already late. A little inside military joke there, but Alan Lazard's been looking good. Aaron Rodgers seems to be going to him quite a bit, and again, I'm watching from the sidelines like the majority of y'all, but I'm going to ask Brandyn some tough questions. I kind of want to know what his perspective is and what he's seen when he's been out there, because Alan Lazard last year, either he stopped caring about football or he forgot how to play football, or again, this wasn't a guy that we're going to say was a legitimate tier one freaking wide receiver one, but we thought when we were getting him, he was going to be a complimentary wide receiver two, and we didn't get that. It got frustrating because you've seen him be a competent wide receiver one, 800 plus yards for Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay, and then he came here and he looked like a shell of himself. So you started thinking whether or not the Jets freaking, paid for another freaking guy on the decline. Then the whole soccer thing became a big thing with him in regards to where his focus was, where it wasn't. It just got ridiculous really fast. But ultimately, it looks as if like he's back on track, right? Like he figured his life out, and he's balling out like right now in freaking training camp. I know it's early; it's only going into week 2, but when I look at freaking Alan Lazard, man, I got to say I've been impressed thus far as to what I'm seeing. Dano checks in. I'm in the optimistic camp, I guess, because I refuse to believe he wants more overall money or longevity and doesn't just want a higher floor security, since he's guaranteed $0, at least until I hear otherwise. So I think Dano was touching on the fact, back on the Hassan Reddick situation. Yeah, I mean, I would say that you're being optimistic, but I think that's a fair assessment. I think if the concern is, or the question is, whether or not he can get some guaranteed money to kind of secure any concerns that he has about, an injury in the season, whatever the case might be, I think that we're doing him an injustice by not just guaranteeing his salary for this year. This is a guy that, if he's on the field and he stays healthy, is capable of double-digit sacks. I think in this defensive rotation, the dude can be a wrecking ball against offenses. And, we still have Josh Allen in our division. We still got Tua, who's operating at a high clip when it comes to operating that Miami offense. If we're missing opportunities to make sure we get some freaking guys who can chase him down, like, I don't understand. If it's just that, Dano, then I'm agitated it's gotten to this point, because I think that should have been done from jump. But okay, I see that our guest of the evening has arrived. I don't want to go ahead and miss out on opportunities to get Brandyn in front of all of us to go ahead and talk Jets football. So without further ado, hey Brandyn, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. I was saying earlier how football is back. Training camp right now was just pretty much like the appetizers to what we're about to get into. You got preseason, which is going to be like, a little bit of the lunch course, you know what I'm saying, a light course. Then, of course, the main dish should be here before we know it, and then we got real football.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it's very awesome and very exciting, and any adjective you want to use, that they're back in pads, right? Because you can get something out of the shorts and t-shirts, but now you're finally getting your first real read of, hey, where is this team at? Where's this unit at? Where's that unit at? And now you finally lay that foundation for the team to build off of.
Facts. I personally think that training camp is the beginning of what I like to call hope season, right? As Jets fans, because you get to kind of see all of the stuff we love about the offseason as Jets fans, the draft, free agency, the stuff we really win at when it comes to this team over the last several years. Offseason champions, we've been deemed that numerous times. But you get to see it all kind of come together. So, which is why I'm glad you were able to make some time for us tonight, man, because you've had the wonderful privilege of being there, seeing things happening like live over the last week and a half. How's it been?
I mean, it's been really cool seeing the difference between, the short practices and then the past 2 days with the padded practices. And I think that the big thing everyone needs to remember is this is the baseline. This is where everything's starting from. And I think that really pertains the most to the offensive side of the ball.
Okay. So we're going to talk about the offensive side of the ball, but I kind of wanted to pick your brain a little bit, man, in regards to the defensive side of the ball. And I just asked a question about it. But Hassan Reddick, man, what are you hearing about the Hassan Reddick situation? Like, should we be positive about it, negative about it? What are you hearing when you're in training camp and amongst those individuals who get this kind of news early?
I mean, I haven't heard anything different than, what everyone else has been reading, what's been out there. I think the way I see it, though, is it's been very consistent. These two parties need each other. This is a relationship that is beneficial for Reddick and is beneficial for the Jets. And I know there's some people out there that are like, okay, what happens if he doesn't report? What happens if he doesn't play? It's not going to reach that point because it basically boils down to the fact that the Jets traded for Hassan Reddick. They need his edge presence going into this season. Okay. Like, I think Michael Clemens is a good role player. You cannot have him as your starting edge opposite Jermaine Johnson. And then on the side of Reddick, if he wants this new contract so bad, he has to play this year. He has to be ready to play and produce to then parlay that into a new deal. Him not playing this year doesn't help his case. It doesn't help him make that money. It doesn't help him because he loses a year in the prime of his career. I think the most likely scenario you're looking at is that the Jets either fully guarantee the deal or add more money onto the existing year of the deal, give Reddick the AAV for this season that he wants, maybe even add on a option year that everyone knows he isn't going to take, but for the optics, that helps. And you see Reddick back relatively soon because there's going to reach a point where he's losing so much money by not being at camp that he's going to show up. And he needs to get into a playing form where, regular season's pretty far away, but you still need that ramp-up period if you're an NFL player. Edge rusher, not as much as, a quarterback or a wideout or an offensive lineman. But I personally expect it to be resolved, if not by the end of this week, early next week, a little, maybe at the very, very, very latest by the Commanders' joint practice. Because, once again, these two sides need each other.
Okay, fair enough. So let's just say worst case scenario. Do you think the Jets have a plan to replace the edge production of a Reddick if he decides to go AWOL long term?
I don't think it reaches that point. I don't think they have a plan because I think they know it won't reach that point for them.
Okay, good. That's good to hear. All right, then let's go ahead and move on to this other thing. So, talking about the offense, you've been seeing some awesome things in terms of course, Aaron Rodgers, Garrett Wilson. But when the pads came on, you started seeing some issues in terms of the offensive line play, specifically with one individual. What is going on with Tippmann? Is it time for Jets fans to start worrying about this kid?
No, it's still so early, and the big thing with this is it wasn't an issue during OTAs. During OTAs, there was never snap issues. I think you could boil it down to, and I explained this before, think about it as like a baseball player that's told by a coach to change a certain aspect of their swing. And they're thinking so much about that aspect of their swing that now their fundamentals just fall apart. Or a basketball player that's thinking so much about playing defense and worrying about the defensive scheme they're running that all of a sudden they lose their jump shot and start missing shots that they usually make.
Okay.
The way I look at it is that Joe Tippmann is thinking a lot. It's a new year in the offense. Rodgers is fully back. Rodgers runs a different offense than they likely ran with the likes of Tim Boyle and Zach Wilson, etc. And I think the high snaps are a byproduct of a lack of focus, a lack of really honing in on the technique. Now, there's only day 2 of practice. Tippmann's a hardworking, very talented player. I personally feel that it's not going to be an issue going forward. But if we reach, the end of this week into next week, and we're still having, the snaps almost flying over Rodgers' head, the defensive lineman getting there because the play's getting blown up, then I think it's time to start worrying, to start being like, all right, what's plan B at center for this team? But as it stands on the 30th of July, we're not even in August yet. I'm not panicking about anything.
Okay.
Pads just came on. Players are getting their feet underneath them. The speed picks up. Players are having to take the information they were learning with installs and now applying it in as fast of a fashion as humanly possible. You're going to see mess ups. You're going to see errors. And I think the Tippmann snaps are a part of that. But this is a completely different conversation, like I said, if it continues for an extended period of time.
Okay, fair enough. So in your mindset, there's nobody calling Connor McGovern or anything like that, trying to get him into the building. Connor Williams, I think, is still out there as well. We're not looking to go ahead and make those kind of moves yet.
No.
Okay, fair enough. All right, well, let's talk about some positive stuff. All right, listen. Throughout camp over the last couple of weeks, the Nuggets have pretty much dazzled us with some awesome freaking footage of the Aaron Rodgers to Garrett Wilson, a.k.a. G5 connection. What have you seen about Rodgers and Wilson that we're not being able to see, but you're seeing those guys' interaction? I know we've had a lot of people talk about, the arguments on the sideline and stuff like that, but you've been there, you've been seeing these guys. What have you seen that's making you think, wow, these guys potentially could be great this season, or maybe they'll just be average this season?
They're both insanely fierce competitors, and I think those videos show that. If you've ever been a part of a football practice, everyone isn't singing Kumbaya and holding hands, right? There are arguments. There are people jawing at each other. There are people that want to basically knock each other as far back and win their reps. And then at the end of the day, everyone's friendly and on the same team. When you look at those arguments, it's just a desire of both Wilson and Rodgers to want to be the best possible connection, the best possible quarterback in Rodgers' case, and the best possible wide receiver in Wilson's case. And you look at where their connection is on July 30th, it's really damn good. There are plays where Rodgers throwing the ball before the cornerbacks can even turn around and Wilson's making the catch. Rodgers is fitting it in between coverage, back shoulders. They're working on everything. And there's some misfires. Rodgers missed an in-breaker to Wilson that was a hair behind him and allowed DJ Reed to make a pass breakup. As that connection continues to develop, though, that turns into, this is an incredible pass that Rodgers hits right on the money to Garrett. It's all about getting to a point where by the time you're facing the 49ers on Monday Night Football, Rodgers and Wilson have that mind meld connection. They have that sense of the quarterback knows where the wide receiver is going to be and the wide receiver knows where the quarterback is going to throw it every single time. And it's not perfect. And how could you expect it to be perfect right now? But where it is right now would still be a very dominant connection. It's just important to remember that there's still a runway. There's still time for it to progress. And I think that should be exciting for Jets fans. It should be exciting that the highlights you've seen already and the things that this duo have done already might be the beginning. And it might not even be what it looks like once you get to the regular season.
Man, Brandon, listen, as Jets fans, we haven't heard our offense talked about in this fashion in over a decade. I don't know the last time we've heard these kind of positive remarks being stated about a quarterback and wide receiver connection in the Jets building. So we're talking about the aerial attack, but I've also noticed that there's been some flashes in terms of the run game as well. One in particular that's kind of catching my eye right now, and maybe call me crazy, but it sounds like or looks like B. Allen, a.k.a. Agent Zero, has been having a better camp than Brees. Is it possible?
I wouldn't say he's having a better camp than Brees because Brees isn't going to be run into the ground during camp. The Jets know what Brees Hall is. Brees Hall is one of the best running backs in the National Football League.
Facts.
And he showed that today. Caught a swing route, darted up the sideline, big gain. He's hitting the holes. He looks shifty. He looks explosive. But the Jets need to see what they have in the rest of their guys, in Braylon Allen, in Isaiah Davis, and Tariq Cohen. And Allen has looked very, very good. The contact balance is very, very great to see. The way he's able to shift through the different holes and attack downhill immediately. The way he bounces off contact. The way he invites contact. I remember on Monday, there was a loud crowd reaction because to finish a run, he leveled Tony Adams with a truck. So when it comes to what he's going to do in the regular season, you finally have a running back that won't completely kill the flow of the offense. Remember what the offense looked like the first time Breece Hall got injured. And remember what it looked like last year when Breece Hall wasn't on the field. The Jets didn't have another guy that could carry that offensive load consistently. If you have a guy in Allen who has shown awesome flashes and awesome plays running the ball and also split out as a receiver and catching the ball, you're not losing anything at that position. Maybe a little bit because I don't think Allen's where Breece is as an overall athlete, but you're not falling off a cliff now. You're still getting production. And I think you're going to have the perfect guy to spell Breece and not give the defense a break. And hey, maybe you even have a package with, and this obviously depends on where the receiver room is at, maybe you can have Breece and Braylon Allen on the field together.
So the run game can only get better, in my opinion, right? With the offensive line, with the addition of these two guys. Isaiah Davis is another individual back there. One question that I kind of wanted to ask you real quick, seeing how Cohen has been looking, Isaiah Davis, Braylon Allen, and of course Breece is Breece. Is there a spot on this in this running back room for freaking Izzy, or is Izzy possibly the odd man out?
Yeah, the thing with Izzy is I think everyone who looks at it like he's either going to be a depth running back or a special teams player. When it comes to running back, the reps have gone a lot to Breece, to Braylon Allen, Isaiah Davis, and Tariq Cohen has already leaped him. And all those guys have looked good in their own ways. We talk about Breece and Allen. You know, Isaiah Davis just gets downhill and invites contact immediately. He's decisive. He has that nice short area burst you want in that running back 3 situational player type mode. And he has pretty good athleticism too. Tariq Cohen looks shifty and quick, and he's still getting that long speed back. How even Xavier Valde looks shifty and explosive with the ball in his hands. Is he still, and I will give him his credit, he's looked better in camp. With the pads on, he's looked more decisive. He's looked just not as hesitant as he did in OTAs. But he's still so far behind these other guys that are ripping off these plays that are already working in with the upper guys on the depth chart, like Rodgers, like Tyrod Taylor. And then the other part with special teams is that these kickoff rules, it looks like it's going to be much more reliant on ball carrier vision. And what's the one thing that Izzy struggled with last season and early on in camp? Reading blocks and ball carrier vision. So that's playing into the fact that a guy like Tariq Cohen might have an inside edge with the kickoff return. It's why a guy like Braylon Allen might have a role. Isaiah Davis might fit perfectly as the Jets return man. Even a guy like, and if we talk wide receiver, we'll get to him later, a guy like Tyler Harrell looks really explosive on kickoff. Izzy, during that time, isn't even working with the returners. So he's far behind on the depth chart with supposed depth chart, obviously nothing official yet. He's far behind in the running back room, and he's far behind in the kickoff return room. And when you look at how a roster is constructed in the modern NFL, you're not keeping 5 running backs, let alone 6.
All right. So, I mean, I guess time will tell, right? Ultimately, I think the Izzy situation is one that we he's only in year 2, but you're seeing a lot of individuals already talk about him being the odd man out. So I just had to ask you that question, throw you a little curveball.
Yeah, of course. And there's a reason, right? And we may have not thought of it at the time because people still thought Izzy had a really good shot at making this roster. There's a reason they drafted 2 running backs. There's a reason
Facts.
that after drafting 2 running backs, they still went out and signed Tariq Cohen.
Big
And
facts.
I think my honest opinion on Izzy is I think if he goes to a different team with a different type of scheme, he'll fit in more. Team that relies more on, more of an outside zone, outside run approach. I think he'll fit in a lot better. And I think he just needs to be on a team that gives him an opportunity. Because quite frankly, he's not going to get it here.
Yeah, one thing I'll say is running back room is not something that I think anybody is worried about. I think that in terms of the overall talent, if you're a Jets fan, if you're the coaches, you feel pretty confident in that room. Man, well, all right. I know I only got you for a few more minutes, so let's go ahead and jump into the next question, man. One thing that I wanted to ask you specifically kind of irked me a little bit. I noticed this a little bit last year in terms of DJ Reed. Struggling with the double move a little bit, getting beat deep. And then already so far in training camp, we've seen him take a couple of L's. DJ Reed getting cooked seems like daily. What have you seen specifically, being there and being able to see it live? And is it time for us to worry about DJ Reed potentially?
Not in the slightest. You got to remember, who is DJ Reed going up against consistently in practice?
That's
Garrett Wilson.
G5.
Garrett Wilson is one of the best wide receivers in football. Just because DJ Reed is getting beat consistently by Garrett Wilson, who he may not be recognized as this, but talent-wise is already top 10, maybe even a top 7 receiver in football, is nothing to be like, oh, that who cares? Reed has also been very good in his other reps. He's had great coverage in his other reps. He had some nice pass breakups today. It's just the fact that, the great term iron sharpens iron. Reed's making himself better every day by facing Garrett Wilson. And it's not every single rep, and it's not every single play, but the times he's facing Reed, yeah, Wilson has the edge on him. Wilson knows how to beat him. He has the size, better speed, better agility than Reed. But he's also an upper echelon wide receiver, and Reed is not going to face upper echelon wide receivers at Garrett Wilson's level every single week. So no, I'm not worried. I'm not concerned about his production and what he's done. Now, if we get to the Washington joint practice, and this is kind of similar to the Tippmann thing, and DJ Reed's getting cooked by Jahan Dotson and McLaurin and every wide receiver there, then that is a warranted discussion. Then it's like, okay, he might have lost a step. How do we fix this, right? But
Okay.
going up against Garrett Wilson, I'm not concerned.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, everybody was worried about it. I know there was some Twitter chatter. I was guilty of it as well. There you have specifically. Brandon's like, calm down, just relax. It's Garrett Wilson. He is that good. Right. So going to another wide receiver in the room. So it seems like Allen Lazard's been targeted quite a bit by Aaron Rodgers so far in training camp. At least the videos would lead us to believe that's been the case. Should we expect some type of way that there's going to be a Lazard resurgence?
I think when it comes to Lazard, it's going to be in a situational type role, and the Jets know he needs to be productive in that. Because if you look at the room, outside of Garrett Wilson, it's a lot of question marks. Xavier Gipson, as much talent as he has, question mark. Jason Brownlee, question mark. Malik Taylor, question mark. Malachi Corley, I think he's going to be really good, question mark. Tyler Harrell, question mark. Lazard is one of the few wideouts that has consistent NFL production, specifically with Aaron Rodgers. And no, I'm not expecting him to be the Jets' number 2 like he came into the season last year for, or the, second best wideout or pass catcher on the team. But if he's a red zone threat, if he gets you 2 to 3 first down conversions a game, that's good enough. That's better than what he gave you last year. And he's shown that type of play. Yeah, he's had a few drops. A lot of wide receivers have drops, but he's also had touchdowns in practice. He's made catches in across the middle of the field and gotten lit up. He took a wicked shot from Chuck Clark today. He held onto the ball and basically got knocked out. Like, he had to come out of the game or practice for a play or two because he got hit so hard. Like, that's the type of player that Lazard needs to be for this team this year. And if the Jets get that out of him, that's a win.
All right. Fair enough. So, the offense, continuing this conversation about the offense. I've been on record as saying that one of the best things that we did this offseason was literally improving the offensive line. Now, being able to sit here and see the Twitter snapshots and all of the angles of Aaron Rodgers having a completely clean pocket, obviously camera angles can lie to us. You being there in person, how has this offensive line looked when you were there watching?
It feels the most even that it's been early on in practice compared to the past few years. Because past few years, right, feels like the defensive line would be winning almost every rep.
Facts.
You would have Bryce Huff torching someone like a Mekhi Becton or a, Dwayne Brown in practice. And it'd be like, oh, well, it's early. You have a bit more of a balance where, yeah, you'll have a Will McDonald win and a Quinnen Williams win and, some other guys win and get sacks. But then you have the counterpunch. You have a Tyron Smith that'll shut down an edge rusher. Your interior will hold up. You're not getting blown off the ball every single time. And I think for a unit that doesn't even have Elijah Vera-Tucker back in full or Morgan Moses back in full, that's awesome to see. And I think that's a great baseline to build off of.
So, in terms of that, right? Like, I know you just brought up Morgan Moses. We saw Elijah Vera-Tucker get a chance to kind of step out there. Is there an update as to when the timeline of Morgan Moses looks like, when he'll be able to get out there?
I think Robert Saleh said next week, both AVT and Moses would be back working in team drills. So there's no need to rush them. I think once they're ready, they're ready. I think getting this unit to mesh together as soon as possible is important. And whenever that time arrives, I think it'll be at least before the Washington game and the joint practice. But whenever that time is, that time is.
All right. Fair enough. So, you know what? I know I only got you for a little bit longer, man. 2 more questions and I'll let you go. So right down to the nitty and gritty, right? So you've been there this entire time, week and a half in the training camp. Who has been the biggest disappointment thus far for you in camp?
That's a tough one, right? Biggest disappointment. It kind of feels like a lot of things have been even in the sense of like there hasn't been anyone that's just, completely fallen off a cliff. But I think I would lean Jason Brownlee because I feel like he has such a great opportunity to take that step. And it's so hard to say, oh, who's a disappointment, who's not doing well, because remember, 2 practices in. It just feels like separation-wise, he's not doing as well as I thought he could. It feels like no matter if it's Quantez Stiggers or Jarek Bernard-Converse or really any other cornerback, he's not getting a ton of separation. And, that creates opportunity for contested catches, and there are some reps that he wins outright, but it's not as consistent as I would like for someone that's trying to hold off other wide receivers on the depth chart. For example, Tyler Harrell, and I know he got injured at the end of practice, and that injury has been disclosed. He looked fine. He's showing really good deep speed. He's showing some of the best explosiveness in this wide receiver room. So when you compare that to someone that isn't creating that separation, when you compare that and add in Malik Taylor, who's making play after play after play, you end up with a player like Brownlee disappointed.
Wow. Brownlee was a favorite of ours last year. So this year not showing up as we were hoping he would. Okay. All right. Well, with that said, then let's go ahead and go to the other side of the spectrum. Who has been the biggest surprise for you in training camp?
It's Braylon Allen. Not necessarily in the surprise that, oh, he's, doing well. It's more the surprise in he's looking this good right off the bat. We're not talking like he was a second, third round pick. Like he was a later round pick. And yet the way he's running the ball, the way he's cutting through lanes, the way he's running through contact already, I'm surprised in the fact that I think he is going to be a vital part of this team's offense in 2024. And I don't think that was necessarily on the cards when he got drafted. Outside of him, I think Eric Watts has been really fun on the defensive line. He's been getting after the passer. And then the guy I just mentioned, Tyler Harrell. I really like the deep speed he's showing. I really like the ability he's showing on the outside. He could have had 2 long touchdowns today, but both passes were underthrown. That's how fast he's getting behind the defenders. And the only reason he didn't come down with them is he had to stop and adjust and come back for the ball. So, Allen, Harrell, and Watts are probably my 3. Throw in Quantez Stiggers there, continuing a great start to summer, and you have a good mix of guys that have been surprises.
Hey, that's always a good thing. It seems like a lot of individuals are surprising you in a positive way, right? And you had to struggle a little bit to figure out who disappointed. I'll take that all day. I will take that all day as a Jets fan. That's a positive in my book. So again, Brandon, I know I kind of ran over time, man. My apologies on that, brother. I appreciate you hanging out and then answering these questions. Tell the people where they can go ahead and find you, brother.
Yeah, so writing for Jets XFactor, you can follow me on Twitter at BPOC24. Also writing for a website called The League Winners. You can find all their work on Twitter, on my Twitter, covering Rutgers, covering FAU. Really excited to do that. And, thank you so much for having me on. Really excited to see how the team progresses heading towards the first preseason game and can't wait to do this again.
Man, it's always a pleasure, brother. Just a little quick side note. I spoke to your dad earlier today. I don't know if he told you anything, but I spoke with your dad earlier today. He saw one of my posts with the Ready to Get Hurt Again shirts, and he was kind of curious where he could find one. Hey, man, he's proud of the things you're doing, man. I think you're doing an incredible job. I think we're lucky to have you being one of the writers on the Jets X Factor, being able to go ahead and spill the beans on what you're seeing. Follow him on Twitter, man. Like, again, if you want to go ahead and keep a track of what's going on, I'm getting my stuff from Brandon. I'm following him on Twitter. He's keeping us up to date. And then his articles are top notch. So, Brandon, again, brother, I appreciate you, man. And you already know we'll do this again.
Thank you so much. Have a great night.
Have a good night, brother. All right. So that's Brandon. Again, if all of his socials are below. If you guys want to go ahead and just click into the description, you can go ahead and literally see him on Jets X Factor, on Twitter. I believe he's also on Instagram. Spoke to his dad earlier today, man. Also, awesome father. You can kind of tell like when an individual has like a great supportive cast in his camp. His dad's one of those guys, man, and it's always kind of cool to see. But yeah, so overall, it seems like training camp is going in a positive light. I saw somebody ask the question in regards to the question was, is Garrett Wilson like a Stephon Diggs? I won't lie to you, man. I think Garrett Wilson has the potential to be significantly better than a Stephon Diggs. Diggs to me is or was a great receiver. Not sure if he's in that threshold of going downhill now, but a guy that I think really impacted and assisted Josh Allen in his development. One of the guys who was a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL. I think Garrett Wilson has the potential to be a top 3 guy. I again, call me a homer if you want to. I think his floor is top 10. His ceiling is top 3. I still have Tyreek Hill being that top dog. I think Justin Jefferson being that top dog too. I have Justin Jefferson first, Tyreek Hill second. You could flip it, and you're really not wrong in that particular sense. But after that, I think you talk Jamar Chase, Puka Nakua is being put in that conversation, which I think is ridiculously. A little bit premature, but I digress. But, you got the Devontae Adams, who, again, at this stage of his career, he could be in that top 3 conversation. Some would still put him as the number 1 guy. But I got Garrett Wilson in that realm of individuals. Tyreek Hill and Justin Jefferson are different, right? I got them in their own tier. That very next tier, which isn't like a huge drop-off, but it's the next tier. I got the Jamar Chases, the Devontae Adams, and I've got Garrett Wilson there. So I don't have Stephon Diggs in that same tier. He's like a tier below that. But it's a good problem to have, right? Again, you're looking at Garrett Wilson. He's somebody who I believe has proven to himself to be quarterback proof, coaching proof. He hasn't had much help, and somehow, some way, this kid won Offensive Rookie of the Year, back-to-back freaking 1,000-yard seasons. He's a baller. And if you haven't watched his origin story, watch his origin story. You'll believe after watching that more so that this kid is destined for some great things, whether or not you like him, hate him, whatever. You'll watch that and realize, like, yeah, nah, he's destined for some great things. So for me, I've got Garrett Wilson as a better wide receiver option than a Stephon Diggs. And you could even put Stephon Diggs in his prime, and I would still have Garrett Wilson ahead of him. Again, shout out to my boy for being at the training camp today. I saw some individuals ask if I was taking some call-in. So if you want to go ahead and call in, go ahead and do so. I put the link in the chat right now for you to jump on. Let's talk a little bit. Got about 15 minutes left. I'm going to be flying out to Colorado tomorrow morning, so it's an early morning for me. But if you've got any questions, be more than happy to go ahead and answer it. If you want to jump on, feel free. We've got about 15 minutes left in the show, and I've now put that in the description for you. Boom. So I see freaking my boy Dano putting this out there. So, yes, tickets are already bought. Like, it's solidified. October 20th. I did not know Joe was going, so I just discovered Joe Blewett is going to be there as well. So I'm going to reach out to Joe because I definitely want to chop it up with him. Always a good time talking to him, man. Daniel, freaking Dano. It's going to be a great time. If you're going to that particular game, I'm landing in Pittsburgh, I think, Saturday night. Me and both my brother-in-laws are going to be there. So if you want to hang out, chop it up, even if it's just hanging out that night to grab a drink, some food, whatever, man, let's go ahead and do it because I think that's going to be a fun time. And both my brother-in-laws are Steelers fans. So I'm going to need some backup. So if you guys want to go ahead and be part of the posse here, again, me, Dan, Joe, I would appreciate the assistance. We would appreciate the assistance. Jets fans, stay united. So it was a good time. Chill. Nate, and it wasn't too hot. Was key to being comfortable. I'm assuming you guys are just having conversations in the chat, and I'm just catching up on some stuff. What point are you talking about? Yes, I'm taking calls. So if you're interested in getting on the show, now's the time to do it. We've got about 12 minutes left. No, you just flight talk. That's great. Saw you guys picks looking good. You guys are definitely talking amongst yourselves, which I love, by the way. I absolutely love the fact that you guys will come on the show or in just watch the show and you just chop it up with each other. It's what the Hangar Hangout is supposed to be all about. If you want to go ahead and come hang out with me again, you've got a moment to do so over the next 10 minutes or so. But Brandyn, again, kind of broke down some – what's up, Johnny? I'm about to do a show with Johnny here in a couple of – is that next a couple of months in September. So me and Johnny are going to be doing a show together in September. I'm coming on his show, actually, for a couple of hours talking some Jets football. It's one of the things I loved about doing this as a podcaster. And I think, again, if you're somebody who loves the New York Jets or you love anything, right, you're passionate about it and you feel like you can share your knowledge base with other people, this is an incredible platform. I don't think we give YouTube enough credit for what it allows us to do. Like, I would have never met guys like Dano or Johnny Boy or Daniel or Chaos or Green Bean, like or Buffalo Jets fan, Matt O'Leary. I got to meet these guys. These are guys that I used to watch all the time. And then I wind up starting my own YouTube channel and having a chance to kind of hang out with those guys. Speaking of which, the Thursday Think of It is back. I'm not sure if you guys are tracking that. You probably are because our fan base is pretty like all the y'all that watch Jets content are pretty much on the same page. So on Thursday, we're back, me and Green Bean. I know I was supposed to be the last week, but it was my anniversary with the wife, so couldn't be there. But the Thursday Think of It is back. So tune in on Green Bean's channel on Thursday nights for that one. But yeah, again, getting back to it, if you've got some passion, man, getting in front of a camera just to go ahead and talk about it and the doors you open up to interact and engage with individuals is on a whole other level. It's just been amazing, the opportunities this platform provides, the people you get to meet and conversate with. I wouldn't know 90% of you if not for this, right? I might have ran into a few of you maybe on Twitter or on Instagram, but I wanted to give a shout out to that because I'm seeing freaking what New York Jets Flight Talk is doing. I'm seeing Dano with his channel right now. Johnny Boy invited me to his channel. Like, I'm starting to see these guys, and I'm like, man, it's crazy how this platform allows us access to the world wide web of Jets fans, and we get to celebrate together, talk together, we get to hurt together whenever things kind of go bad. But I see you guys having a conversation in the group in the chat, man. I thought it was kind of awesome. I'm not sure if Sharp Inches is asking this question. Why did it take Jody 5 years to finally figure out that a running back needs the size and weight to pick up a blitz? Izzy and Michael Carter will get a QB killed. Listen, I was a big fan of the Izzy pick. I thought, bringing him in as a change of pace back. The dude literally is a track star, right? He's really, really fast. He's very elusive, quick burst. I thought he was going to be a compliment to Breece Hall. But in all actuality, it's just, yes, the track speed thing is awesome, but it only works for some people. And don't get it twisted. I think Izzy has a place in this league. I just don't know if it's in our scheme, right? I think you put Izzy on a team like the Dolphins, and that's concerning, right? Another track freaking athlete on that roster would be concerning. I think Izzy could potentially be, RB2 on the Patriot. Like, there's teams where this kid can go out there and dominate. Unfortunately for him, the Jets running back room is stacked, which I love. I love the fact that we have a stacked running back room. So it's a good problem for us to have. And yeah, I guess you can say Joe D could have kind of seen this coming before, especially after Carter, which again, another pick where I think the majority of us were on board with. But seeing what, a proper running back room is supposed to look like with guys like B. Allen, Breece Hall, and Isaiah, I think right now we're starting to go ahead and just bypass the little fast guys. To each their own. But I think there were two individuals, Michael Carter and both Izzy, that we all were pretty excited about. My boy Dano decided to go ahead and hop on. What's up, Dano? How you doing, brother?
How's it going, man?
Living the dream, bro. I'm living the dream. It's training camp. I can't complain right now. We're starting to see the fruition of all of our hopes and dreams come together and being molded into something viable. So 100%, I'm excited, man. You couldn't really knock me down if you tried. How are you doing?
Good, man. A lot better than a year ago at this time. Like, I might have been naive. I had naive positivity last year, but like this year, I do want to ask you about one of the few reasons I'm a little worried. And I'm sure there's only so many spots, like safety, you could say.
Yeah.
Or if you don't believe Kinlaw and Fotu, then maybe IDL. But for me, right, I'm more worried about IOL. And I don't know, man. I just really want McGovern. Like, I wanted to ask you a question about that. Like,
all right.
I think if you were listening to, I'm sure you're plugged into all the content too.
Yep.
At one point in the last week or two, I heard Aaron Rodgers talk about like getting Tippmann more developed with like the play calling and like just basically taking on more responsibility so that he could focus on other things. I believe it was Rodgers that said that. And like, I love that for one. But I'm wondering, like, do you think it's possible that we have like a handshake deal in place with McGovern? But not just that, but that maybe we're strategically not bringing him in yet. That way, like, it gives Tippmann the entire room to kind of blossom. Or do you think that that's ridiculous and like he should be able to blossom whether McGovern's in here or not? Or maybe the opposite. Maybe you think that's like it would be easier for him to blossom with McGovern in here. I don't know. I just feel like having our previous starting center not in here right now is probably a good thing. And I'm hoping that's the reason he like mums the word with him. What do you think? Am I anywhere like
I look at it this way, right? So McGovern went and I think he did a couple of workouts for a couple of teams, and he hasn't made a decision on joining those teams. So I look at that and I think to myself, what's holding him back, right? Like, what's the hesitation? And that's where I align with you when I think like maybe there is a handshake deal that's already been made, and he's already contemplating becoming a New York Jet. But I'm with Hawk on this one, man. I was really excited about Tippmann coming in. I was hoping he was going to be able to dominate, coming off, making the All Rookies team last year. But this is concerning to me. And I know it's July, and I know it. We heard Brandyn say relax. You know what I'm saying? It's very early. But as Jets fans, man, the PTSD is real with us. And I think that once we start to see things going awry or something that can potentially implode the positive progress that we've had, we start to hate it. We start to go ahead and turn on it very, very quick. Because we've seen this story before, man, and we're not trying to go back down that road. So I'm hoping you're right. I'm hoping that the thought process is that McGovern is already on the back burner. It's just a matter of not trying to crush the kids, I guess you can say crush his spirit or his confidence maybe, and that's why they're holding off on bringing him in. But I would
One,
think that since McGovern had done some tryouts and there's other teams interested and he hasn't made a decision, that he wants to stay here and remain a New York Jet, which is what he's holding out for.
See, if that's the case, and I do kind of like that, like give Tippmann space, see if he can really like command the room, not just have the room, but like command
Right.
it. I would love that. But like, dude, it only takes one center going down into preseason for him to suddenly get 6 to 8 million on a 1 year deal and be a starter. So like, where do you draw that line with like, all right, we need your like not just handshake but your name on the paper.
Uh, if you're asking me, bro, I would have already had him in the building after this week. I would have already been like, okay, all right, Tippmann, we're going to go ahead and bring some competition for you because obviously you've gotten too comfortable. I have him in the building. Is Connor Williams still out there?
That I don't know. The only reason I go to McGovern too is because he was here last year, but
Familiarity. Yeah.
and he can be a guard. Like it's not even Tippmann I'm
Versatile.
worried
That's
about.
true.
Like,
That's true.
dude, like AVT hasn't finished what 1 out of 3 seasons, and like
Yeah.
Simpson, it's just a lot to ask all three of those guys to play 50 games between them. I don't know.
Well, Hawks has said, I don't think McGovern has passed a physical. Maybe I'm wrong. It's possible I'm confusing him with Connor Williams, Connor McGovern and Connor Williams. I know one of them went to Seattle and passed a physical in Seattle, but stated
See,
he wanted to go look
McGovern,
around.
I don't think McGovern has gone to any other teams, and I do think he was on the mend. But like,
Okay, then.
I,
So then I'm
I,
confusing Connor Williams then.
but I mean, by now he ought to be good. So like, if I was a beat reporter or someone like who needed this info, like, dude, just go find that guy. Nobody's talked to him in 6 months. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
get the scoop.
And
But
Vero Beach, New York Jets. Again, my first channel member. Vero, don't worry, I got you. Your autographed mini helmet is en route for being the first. I appreciate you, man. But he makes a very good point. Other teams have been having issues with snaps in camp. He'll be fine. It's trust. Oh, so I get that. But the thing is this, right? Aaron Rodgers, I think we all know, is not the most patient of individuals, right? This is a guy who's throughout his career has not been keen on working with younger players, always wanted to have veteran players around him because of stuff like this, right? Uh, the Dolphins are having snap issues right now too, like a lot. Like it's bad. It seems like every other snap for them is going over to his head or over Mike White's head. It's been pretty egregious how bad it's been. So the thing is that what I'm concerned about is we don't make that move. And like you just said, they pick up some of the other guys that are available. And now we don't have a quality backup interior offensive lineman, center, however you want to look at it, that can potentially help out in a situation where, Tippmann's lost his mind and he's costing us games. Like the kind of snaps we've seen right now in camp are the kind of stuff that can easily go over Aaron Rodgers' head and kills a drive, creates a turnover, or get freaking Rodgers hurt from taking the hit he shouldn't have to trying to get to the ball. And that's where I get concerned about it. When I heard he got his foot stepped on in camp, man, I was like, nope, that's it. Tippmann's got to go. I literally lost it in that situation. So, and again, I think it boils down to we got to be patient, right? I think we're all freaking out because, again, we're Jets fans. PTSD is very real with this fan base. But, man, I can't argue with the fact that, like, relax. You know, we got to try. The kid was on the all rookie team last year for a center.
See, and that's why, like, comparing it to the Dolphins and that, like, I would hate to have snap issues. Like, at least we can, like, rest the, like, short, like, Tippmann's got an incredible ceiling. So, like, maybe Rodgers would be a little more patient knowing that if you do bring this guy along, he's going to be out there center pulling and, like, paving ways. He's going to be six. I mean, 6'6". I'd never even heard of a 6'6" center until we drafted him.
That's a big ass center.
But I do worry just because, like, you could snap the ball great for 2 months, and that one is all it takes to kill you. Like, yep. and then also, like, comparing that with punt returning, where we had yips last year. One of those can kill you. Like, it's just, but yeah, I don't know. Just give me a veteran in here. I don't want Newman snapping a ball if Tippmann sprains his ankle. Like, I don't.
I'm with you 100%. I just the one thing I think we've all been very excited about is this offensive line in terms of how Joe did an incredible job going for the smart pick, vice the sexy pick in the draft, bringing in Olu over Brock Bowers, right? For that to get, alleviated because he didn't bring in this competent backup interior offensive lineman, and God forbid, knock on wood, an AVT or a Tippmann goes down or a Simpson, like. Yeah. The more and more I think about it, the more and more like the interior offensive line kind of like jumps up to me in terms of concern after the safety thing. Yeah. Because you're right, man. Like we're one injury away. We're thin.
Yeah,
we are thin.
I don't like Wes Schweitzer either. I'm sorry. I don't like that cat. Yeah. So, like, and that's why Connor McGovern, it just makes too much. Like, we have to be talking to that dude. There's no way we have Newman and Schweitzer as the only guys behind Tippmann. There's no way. No way.
No, you're right. And again, he knows the offense. He knows the players. He was here last year, so he's got experience with Rodgers. It makes too much sense. Yeah,
I just don't. Why are we stalling? Like, that's what I would drill into. Like, what? I don't know.
Is it the Hassan Reddick situation? Is it the Michael Carter or DJ Reed? There's got to be a reason there, but I couldn't imagine he's going to cost so much money that those would be concerns. So,
and without Reddick on the book, I think our cap number, like, free, jumped up to like 9. I think it went up to 19. So
it did. It dropped.
So if
12
if he's on, yeah. So what I'm saying is, we still have a little extra to get McGovern. I mean, hell, it only cost a couple mil last year, 2-3 mil.
But it's not going to be expensive, man. That's what I don't.
That's where I'm at. Like, if it is a health thing, that makes sense. But it was a health thing a few months ago too. Like, I don't know. Just I wish someone would do a deep dive into that, because that's huge. Like, that is a very thin spot for us. And I'm not worried as much about safety. So, like, for me, it jumps to the top,
Yeah.
So, at least we know there's a guy like that out there. That's what I'm saying. But, dude, one team, if the Chiefs lose their center, you don't think they're calling Connor McGovern? Like, I would make sure you have him is all.
See, now you got me thinking about stuff I wasn't really thinking about. I'm about to be on an airplane tomorrow to Colorado contemplating how good is our interior offensive line.
Dude, I'll sleep better if we have him in-house, dude. I'll sleep better.
Hawk says, hard to sign anyone when we already have to restructure people to afford what Reddick wants.
We haven't. Who have we restructured, though? We haven't really done
We really haven't. I mean, we could still restructure Quinnen. We could restructure freaking
dude, I want
Conklin. No,
see,
we could resign Conklin maybe,
and that'd be nice. It would.
I think CJ we've restructured to death already. I don't know if we can do anything with him. Actually, we probably really can't restructure that many people when you really sit back and think about it. It's
Quinnen
Q.
was one. Quinnen
Q
was
is really
one.
the only individual that I can think off the top of my head that
I mean, do you want if you want Conklin next year, you can save a few million this year, but you got to sign him now. Like,
you would have to. You would
yeah,
have to.
yeah. Reed is the same thing, but I think the fan base is just okay without him next year.
Yeah,
I'm
I think Carter to me is a more important get. I think if we can get Michael Carter
yeah.
second, I think then losing Reed becomes easier to swallow. Especially seeing how Quantez Stigers has been freaking balling out in camp right now. So
For
could they
real.
have found another diamond in the rough with this kid?
Dude, that makes paying Sauce so much more
So much easier.
tolerable.
Oh my
It
gosh,
does, yeah,
yes.
dude. It pays for half of it. I mean,
Listen, you look at how much these cornerback ones have been getting. It's gonna cost us 25 to 30 million a year
it
to
is.
keep freaking Sauce Gardner. The dude is him. He is the number one cornerback in all of football. I don't care what Madden says. I don't care what the NFL top 100 says. The guy has proven he is the number one cornerback in football. We're gonna pay that man 25 to 30 million a year.
Dude, if you
That's
could,
happening.
if your CB2 across from him can be a sixth rounder,
Yeah,
dude,
that
that's
helps a lot.
a
That helps a lot.
lot. Yeah.
Titman snap issues would be bad if he starts bad snapping due to feeling pressure of third downs. If it's not pressure related, it could just be summer sweaty hands. Possible, but still frustrating, right? Because you're disrupting the flow of practice, you're disrupting the flow of the offense, you're losing the confidence of your quarterback, making these mistakes and these errors. And then you've got the fan base freaking out like we are, right? About freaking, missed opportunities and missed snaps and getting Aaron Rodgers hurt because you're stepping on it. It's just, if that's the case, like it sucks because, okay, true, before we know it falls here, that could be alleviated. But it's still beyond frustrating because we're talking about it now in July. And my quarterback might not feel as confident about his freaking center as he did before the sweaty hand started happening.
Dude, Hawk, I
Uh,
agree, dude,
yeah,
because his value will only rise.
go
Like,
up.
yeah,
It's gonna go up. I think we need to. I would like to go ahead and get him signed like by October at the latest
yeah,
because
for
I
real.
think his utilization this year is going to put him on the map for us to compete with other teams for his services next year.
Here's the only thing though. Like, I was looking the other day at tight end contracts coming up, and like, Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely will both be going into the final year next spring. It's like you may be able to make a move, but I don't. What I'm saying is, I don't want to give Conklin 3-4 years. It'd just be nice to get him that one extra year. Like give him two for
I would give him a 2 year deal.
25.
Yeah,
Two for
2 year deal.
25, like
He's what 26 today, 27 today.
something
No,
like
no, no.
that. Yeah, he's
28 today.
around
He's
there.
28 today. Yeah, he's 28 today. Um,
But then you
yeah,
can
I give
save
him
a
a 2 year
few.
deal. I think he's
And
worth a
he's
2 year
got
deal.
dude, he's got a high ceiling or a high floor. So like, I would
Yeah,
guarantee him a little extra, and because you don't want Rucker thinking he needs to be all world next year either. Like I really like their dynamic together. Conklin with Rucker is a good pair.
yeah. Now with Ruckert, man, I think we need to. I don't know. I think we need to see more from him. He's 29 years old today. I apologize. He's 29 years old today. But he's a tight end. He's good for at least 2, 3 more years. Uh,
X.
man,
Rucker though does need more reps.
he
He needs
does,
more.
man. We need to see more. And again, I think one of those things where we're really rooting for the kid. Being a freaking a homegrown Jets fan slash Jets football player, but he's gonna need to go ahead and take advantage of these opportunities, man, and really dominate that drop pass that he had. I think it was like yesterday's training camp, or maybe it was Saturday's. You can't be doing that. You gotta have flawless. You gotta have flawless freaking practices with Aaron Rodgers, so that way he can go ahead and advocate for you to get you on the field. Man, you guys are killing me, bro. I knew they were going to do this, dog. I knew the moment we went past the time frame we talked about, B-Mac, Nick, they were going to show up, and then they were going to drag
You
this
know
out
it.
longer. I
Talking
knew it was
Jets is
coming.
over.
Yep, I'm like, I was like, oh, we got 3 more individuals that popped up. What's up, gents? How y'all doing, man?
What's up, man?
Man, Nick,
I'm
I
about
haven't
to go
talked
on
to you.
myself
So,
at
guys.
the house meeting, and then I sit down. I see that you're on, and I'm like, all right, let me hang with you for a little bit. I pushed my show back a few more minutes to come say what's up,
Well,
brother.
the good news is you get to jump on here real quick, and y'all can both tell us your thoughts about training camp. And then I'm jumping off. I got to be on an airplane to Colorado at like freaking 5:30 in the morning. So
Because I got high. Because I got high.
not with my job, I ain't.
I was gonna head out for work, but then I got high. I hate July Joe Tippmann stories. Remember last year at this time he was a bust. Now he can't
I recall.
snap. Like, Jesus Christ. Come on, Jets Twitter. Stop. Not everything is the end of the world. It's July. This is where you get the rust off. This is where you reacclimate yourself. He's going to battle with Aaron Rodgers, right? He's an inexperienced player. You got Rodgers behind you. You're trying to get the calls that you and Rodgers have worked on. You're working on that in your brain. Okay, I'd rather you get everything else right and the snaps be off than not call the right protections, than not know the right things to do with the line, right? You get all your mental set, and when you get your mental set, that's when the physical goes back to normal. It's just an acclimation period. I do not stress this at all. Just like last year when we heard he was a bust because he was third on the depth chart behind Schweitzer and McGovern. Where'd that go? Well, how many snaps did he fuck up last year in game? I don't remember it being the story when games actually played, right? Sonny, I don't hear you.
Yeah, my bad. I don't remember any. I don't remember any last year in terms of in-game snap issues.
I don't care what happens right now in the last week. Like I said, my line in the sand for Reddick is I think it's August the 19th. That's 3 weeks out from the game. That's when things really start to matter, right? If Tippmann has the yips still 3 weeks out, I'll turn the concern button up. But this will go away by August 1st. It's 2 days from now. We'll never hear from it again. And everyone will be like, oh, remember last year when Tippmann couldn't snap the ball? Oh, he was a backup all-pro center in his second season? Like, it's just typical Jets. The world is crumbling. We have to overreact.
It's not our fault, Nick. We all have PTSD. They did this to us.
It's PTJD. Do you not watch my show? It's PTJD.
I know.
Post-traumatic Jets disorder. You're new to it, B-Mac. You don't even understand. You don't
B-Mac has no clue what
you
we're
don't
talking
even have
about.
the itches yet. You don't even know
Not
it
yet.
yet, bro. Buckle up.
B-Mac.
Well, I think I understand it, kind of get it after what happened last year on the, right on the fourth play. And then I saw what, y'all had to, go through for the rest of the year with Zach Wilson.
This is your first time living it with that hat, brother. By the way, I ordered your ticket. Craig sent me the money.
I'm starting
I
to
ordered
learn.
your ticket for the opener.
I'm starting to really learn about, go ahead. You about to say something?
Craig sent me the money. I ordered your ticket for the opener. I have a row of 25 seats. You'll be in that row, and then I'll take the seat that's not in that row, and I'll just be on the aisle like a goddamn lunatic the whole day. So don't worry about it.
Yeah. I will be at the home opener. Shout out to Craig for giving me the tickets. Bobby's gonna pick me up, and we will, gonna have a road trip. So I'm looking very forward to it.
I can't wait for that.
So B-Mac, how many games you going to this season?
Just one.
Season opener.
Yeah. I think that's it. Yeah, just
home
one.
Opener,
I mean, I'd love to go to more, but just that one. Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you, man. If the home opener was not on a freaking Thursday night, I would have definitively been going to it. It's very frustrating to me that they did this.
Can you get out here? Can you get out December 1st? Seattle, December 1st.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh wait, me or B-Mac?
Both. I talked to my ticket rep. It's Addison's birthday. He's coming out, and we're gonna try to get a minimum of 10 tickets with better seats because they're half the price of the home opener. So what we're paying for the home opener is $140 for Upper Deck because that's a premium game. God damn, Dane, I heard that neck crack through the microphone.
Oh, sorry.
Shit, dude, go see a chiropractor. What the fuck
skeleton.
was that? Oh, my Lord.
I am a skeleton. My bad.
My Lord, that did not sound healthy at all. I thought you were playing with, like, the bubble tape.
I forgot I wasn't muted.
But we're going to get, like, seats for $150, $165 down in the lower bowl. If we get 10 and we do it quickly, the guy will give us field passes for all 10 before the game.
I'm sorry, what?
Field
December
passes.
1st?
December 1st against Seattle. It's not a prime game. So the seats that we're paying $140 for in the Upper Deck are only $70 for that game. But since it's Addison's birthday, I told him, he's like, let's do the lower bowl. So it's $165 a ticket. We get 10 tickets. We can get the group, and we get 10 tickets. The guy will give us field passes before the game.
See, Nick, I was working on getting to the Dolphins versus Jets game as well in December.
Don't do that. Wait, in Miami?
No.
Nick,
in Jersey.
Nick, you probably know Bobby very well. Is Bobby a great rival?
I have no idea.
Can
how
Bobby drive well? I just want to make sure that
I have no idea how Bobby drives, but I've talked to Boy Green and I've talked to Jake, and I think we're all going to chip in, the three of us, and mount cameras in the car, so it's like a real world road rules type of thing where there's nonstop footage of this trip.
Bobby driving.
We will all share the
entertaining.
I would wear one of these, B-Mac.
There's not enough padding in that. There's not enough padding. I would go out like a motorcycle helmet.
Just get a motorcycle helmet and rock it with you, bro.
Your neck will be like mine.
I'll put it this way. I love Bobby, but I would rather get in an airplane with Mohammed Atta flying than in a car with Bobby driving. Well, maybe this time you missed the building. Man. Go ahead, Mohammed. Let's give it a shot.
Oh, man. See, so you're driving with Bobby B-Mac to which game? I'm assuming the home opener?
Yeah.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah.
And are you guys
he says it's gonna be him, him and his brother, and then I'm gonna be at a hotel with them sleeping. He said he's gonna be sleeping with his brother. I'm gonna be, having my own bed. So, I'm yeah.
Nick, when do you need an answer?
It's gonna be very interesting.
I'll just message Jess. Don't worry. I know she's the decision maker.
First of all, I'm a grown ass man. Second of all,
come hang out with me?
Second of all, I'm just trying to see whether or not she would want to come, because she might want to come.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? She loves.
I'd like to move on it quick before the field access expires. So
that's why I would
say by as soon as you can. I'll talk to everyone. I'm going on after you. I'll mention it again that I want to start collecting money for that.
Okay.
So I can order the tickets for that.
Bet. All right, gentlemen. I appreciate you guys for jumping on. Tell the people where they can go ahead and find y'all, because I've got to go to bed. So, Dano, where can the people find you at, brother?
Dano Jets, search it on YouTube, you'll find me. Same on Twitter, man. I appreciate you having me, Gunny. Hell of a show, like always, brother.
I appreciate you, bro. Always a pleasure, man. Always a pleasure. Nick, I know you're about to go live right now. Tell the people where they can go ahead and shift to.
You can find me in the club, pocket full of up. Sorry. Proud NYJ fan, Twitter. My friend's son created a TikTok for me too. Proud_NYJ_fan. Same on Instagram now. I got the page up for that. And yeah. Anywhere. Everywhere.
Bet.
And you will not find me in the backseat of Bobby's car though, B-Mac. Good luck with that shit, bro.
B-Mac, you bold, bro. You bold. Okay, B-Mac. B-Mac, when are you gonna go ahead and kick off your channel, bro?
I got a channel. I got my channel. It's Bernard Nixon.
Perfect.
You can go on it. I got video, mostly Packer stuff, but I'm gonna. Who knows? I might do some Jet stuff too. No, I might mix it up.
You have to if you have
So
the
you
hat.
can catch me there.
BMAC, check the private chat. Check the private chat, and I put my phone number in there. Message me, and we'll figure everything out with the tailgate as well, too. All right, brother?
Yeah.
So
I got it.
off,
All right.
jet it out with the super chat. I appreciate it, even though the super chat is just to tell Nick get on his own show. I appreciate the freaking contribution.
Family
hey Nick,
comes first,
they're
guys.
waiting for
Family
you
comes
on
first.
your
That's fine.
channel, so you got to go, my boy. Gentlemen, I appreciate y'all for chopping it up with me. It's been a pleasure. Another episode of the Hangar Hangout is complete. Go Jets. Till next time.